What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the QQT Studios Liberation upgrade kit for Hasbro Studio Series Devastator. So I got this one from the AliExpress store, KK Barago Car Model Store. I'll put the link and the name in the description below. They hit me up and said, hey, we have a bunch of stuff. Most of the stuff they had offered was things like the KO Studio Series Prime, which I actually already looked at. But I asked them about this, and they sent this, so I appreciate that. So thank you to them. But the first thing I want to talk about is I posted pictures of this set on my Facebook page, and there were a lot of questions around, why would somebody bother with this? Why would somebody buy the 3D printed set, right, when you have the full Devastator? And the answer really is, one, you could form Devastator without buying the whole set. You could just buy Long Haul and Mixmaster, and you really need the pants, the chest wing, and the two forearms to form this Devastator with a 3D printed kit. But in my opinion, the main reason someone would buy this, the main purpose, is to free up the other 6 bots. So with this set, you only need those parts I mentioned, so all the others can go into robot mode or vehicle mode, and you can have them displayed alongside of Devastator. And there's also a good looking Devastator. The other reason you might pick this up is it's pretty sturdy. It's really well built. It's a high quality 3D print. It's very solid. It's probably a really high fill rate. And also the details, they've printed in multiple colors. So it just looks really nice. Just here's an example of Long Haul. You got silver plastic, black plastic, purple plastic, green plastic. It just looks really nice. And I'll show each one individually with its counterpart for the original. But that's the second reason, is maybe you just want a well-built, sturdy Devastator. It also is a little bit taller, so this comes out to about 13.6 inches, give or take. The original, this one, is about 13 inches. So you get a little height boost out of it as well, if that's what you're looking for. It also makes them pretty sturdy. All of the joints, they are 3D printed joints, and I'll show you them individually, but it's a built-in ratcheted, and you can see the gears or the teeth there, built into the 3D print. And it works very well. Everything's nice and tight and solid. Now, I wouldn't recommend you take this apart and put it together too many times. It is 3D printed after all, so wear and tear will mess with the tolerances. But I've taken this apart twice and put it back together, and it's still pretty good. But I wouldn't recommend you do that too many times. The last thing is articulation. It changes the articulation specifically in the arms. So rather than bending here at this outer piece, the shoulder piece here now moves with the arm. I'll show you that a little bit later. So that's all the reasons you might get this, but let's get started. And I want to show you each piece individually compared to the original component. But first, you're going to have to break down Devastator. I have a whole video on Devastator on its own, so you can just watch that video to see how it goes together. All right, let's start off with the legs and the pants here. And as I mentioned, you need this part, which comes with the Long Haul and Hook set, in the Commander class set, in order to combine these. But if you look at the scrappers, you can see, one, it is a little bit taller. It's about a ½ inch taller to the top of this level. The way it attaches is a little bit different than the original. Originally, you take it apart and sandwich it in between. This one, you slide it on, and then there's a tab to cover up the end. But it's very clean. There's no parts or anything, obviously, because it doesn't need to transform. Everything is solid. Like, it really holds together well. It does have a built-in ratchet here for the combined mode. So 1, 2, 3 clicks on that ratchet. And it's just overall a good-looking leg mode. It's got silver, purple, blue, green plastic, and it's sculpted nicely. It's got nice detail on it. So to attach it, we're going to bring in the leg. We're just going to slide this on right here. And those pegs you see kind of solidify it. It's a really solid connection. Then you'll take this, and this will just insert right here and cover up that little thing, and it actually becomes really smooth looking. I mean, just no waffles whatsoever now. You'll also notice the legs are now straight. Can't remember if I mentioned that or not, but that's one of the reasons you might get this set, is if you want nice straight legs. That was one of my complaints with this original Studio Series set, was it wasn't straight. All right, now we'll take a look at the Mix Masters. And again, it's about a 1/2 inch taller from the top of this to the top of this area. So it's a little bit bigger in proportions overall. I like how the front looks. It's got the nice silver and purple. It's got the wheels built in there. They did this a little bit differently than this one, because this one, they faked it by rotating the front of the cab. So this one actually has the cab wheel where it should be. Come to the back, you don't have the arms anymore. You still have the articulation. I think 1, 2, the 2 clicks. Yeah, 2 clicks. And it looks really nice. Nice sculpted detail here on the back. And this will attach the same way. Just slide the joint in. Then you're going to use this cover piece to insert this and cover up the little gap. And there you go. All right, next we'll take a look at the long haul section. So here's the 3D printed. Actually, I'll do it the same way I did the other ones. 3D printed and the original. It reduces the bulk on the backpack quite a bit. It pretty much gets rid of all of that. Really nice looking front grille and everything. It does come with an additional part here. So just for the look of it, you get this, but it's much thinner than the original. You can see how much wider and bigger that the original is. So this attaches the exact same way. There's a little slot right here on the bottom. That's going to attach to this. You can still do the trick if you want. You can unpeg this from here, and then this can act as a ab crunch, but I'm going to put it together the more secure way. So this will just peg in here. It's a very tight fit, so just give it a squeeze. Make sure it's straight, and it really goes on there very nice and tight. Just be aware of that, like it's not loose, so if you're trying to take it off, you'll have to give it some force. This is going to just peg in and sit right here. And that's now your new backpack. Very slim, very compact look. All right, next we'll add on the hook pieces. So here's the 3D print, here's the original, and it comes with the head. So I guess let's bring in the head. And the sculpt is similar, it's slightly bigger. But it is 3D printed, so I want you to know it doesn't look quite as good as the original. However, you could probably figure out a way to get this removed. It's on a pin. There's 2 screws on the back of this, so maybe you could get this off. But as far as I can tell, it's not very simple to get it attached. I forgot to include actual hook. Just plugs in like that. But pretty nice. It's got new details. You got red plastic here. Nice big headlights there. And here's the back. It's just purple plastic on here versus the mess that you got on the original. So, I mean that's not their fault because it has to transform, but just wanted to mention that. This will attach right here on the top. So you're going to remove this, slide that off, and then you're going to slide this forward. Again, it's a very tight fit. So I don't recommend taking it apart and putting it back together, but you can hear it just clicks into place very securely and loudly. And then this, you're just going to slide on. You can just fold this down, slide that up, and then that will store right there. Nice red and purple plastic back here. All right, now, don't forget to put this hook on there. Now we can add this piece. And originally, there was 2 tabs on the ends of this wing that plugged into the treads for the shoulders. Well, now those treads move. So these don't plug in anymore. So you can actually plug this in now before you get the arms on there. So there's still a peg here that's going into a slot here. And then 2 clips that are going around the front of Long Haul's front grille. So get the peg in, then get those clips on. You'll hear it clip into place. It's pretty secure. And then once you have that pushed in, and like I mentioned, it's very secure. Everything's really tight. I don't recommend installing and removing it repeatedly. But, I mean, that's not going anywhere. All right, next we'll add Scavenger. So here are the two arms. Both have silver wheels, a little bit more paint and detail on this one. Also have a little bit of silver here, a little bit of purple detail there. So just little added extra details, not a lot. Sculpted detail is definitely more. And like I mentioned, you do have to remove the forearm from this one. So just go ahead and detach that. I accidentally detached the hand. And then you're going to attach it here. This is a very, very secure connection. It's kind of hard to take it off. So once you put it on there, just be aware. This still has articulations. If you prefer to have it like out to the side or something different, you can change it. But I like to have it just compact on the side. It does have, again, a built-in ratchet right here at the elbow using a ratchet joint, 3D printed ratchet joint. And this will add on the same way as the original. You're just going to slide it down onto here. This is a very tight connection, so again, I don't recommend continually installing and uninstalling it. It clips in very securely. Like I mentioned, the treads on the vehicle move with the shoulder now. So this no longer plugs in there. Also, there's plenty of gap, so it works really well. All right, then we'll take care of Bone Crusher. So here's the original, and again, a little bit more detail, a little more silver, black paint or black plastic here. It's a little bit wider overall. You can still move the shovel up and down. And again, you're going to detach the forearm and then attach it onto the new piece. And then slide this down onto here. And you kind of have to wiggle it down until you get it all the way installed. You'll feel it kind of hit the bottom of it. All right, and there is the QQT Studio Liberation version of Devastator, and I think it looks pretty good. I'm impressed with how well the 3D print turned out. Sometimes when you do 3D print, you lose some of the detail and you add some of the print lines. This one is a pretty clean print. It doesn't have a lot of print lines. But let's get in close so you can see it, but also go over the articulation. There's the head sculpt. This is the one area where I think it could have been improved. The silver plastic doesn't look as good as the original, but it looks fine. It looks okay. It's got sculpted in detail. It's on a ball joint, so you can lift it up on the ball joint, and that'll allow you to get it down more and up more. Or you can just have it flat on the top of the chest. So you can have a choice there, side to side, and rotates around just like the original. Shoulders are on a ratchet, so they'll lift up to here. Again, it's that 3D printed ratchet, but it goes up to there. Is it one more? Yeah, it's one more. It goes up to there. It also rotates around. It's a very strong ratchet, so just be aware of that. And I imagine over time you will wear down the ratchets. It's just 3D printed. By the way, I knocked this out. I would recommend putting something to tighten this up. Maybe some floor polish, because that's like the only thing on the entire thing that is loose in any way. For the arms, you have a rotation here. It's on a soft ratchet, but it's a very tight ratchet. You have a 90-degree bend at the elbow on a ratchet. Rotation at the wrist, this is all the same because it's the original, so nothing changed there. The other arm works exactly the same, so I'm not going to show it again, other than to mention you can move this up and down. Waist rotation is the same as before, nothing has changed there. Ab crunch I showed you earlier. If you really want to do it, you have to undo that inner peg. Backpack is pretty clean now, nice and flat and clean. And you could probably figure out different configurations, whatever you want. I think this is the flattest of it all. Hip joints are the same, so there's nothing really new there. That's still the ratchet because we used the pants from the previous figure. Knee joint still works well. That is a little issue there, but the knee joint still bends well. Nothing falls apart. Everything's solid back here. Like I mentioned, nothing is moving with exception to the hook. Everything is super solid. Ankle tilts is out to there. But there you go for the articulation. The gun is the same. So unfortunately, this hasn't been fixed. You need a little kiki to get this tighter, but just like the original, this is the original hands, right? So it's the same gun still attaching there. For a quick size comparison, there it is next to the Hasbro Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime. And it does come in a little bit taller, but with this Prime, I think everything kind of looks a little bit smaller, but there you go for a sense of scale. So final recommendations on the QQT Studios Liberation Upgrade Kit for Studio Series Devastator. This is a pretty cool set. I'm going to recommend it. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. Overall, I like the look of the set. I was expecting to see, 3D printed parts. It looked cheap, but it doesn't. It looks really good. Nice paint, color detail, and also sculpted detail on each of the pieces. It does increase the overall height of Devastator, which is a nice little bonus. And overall, it retains the articulation. I don't think it adds any articulation, but it retains articulation. And it improves stability. It's pretty stable because none of these things have to transform. So, for example, the shovel on Scrapper is not going to bend on you, things like that. So overall, it's a pretty well-built set. It also allows you to do this, display the separate bots in either robot mode or vehicle mode, which is a nice bonus, especially if you're a chug collector and you wanted to have these separate in your collection. You don't have to buy 2 sets worth, because this set altogether is around, I think, $220. And this Liberation Kit, at least from the store I bought it from or got it from, is $97. So for less than half the price, you could have another Devastator. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks to the store on AliExpress for sending this for review, and we'll see you next time.